Sleep is incredibly undervalued these days. I know that you understand that sleep is incredibly valuable for your health and well-being, but there is so much more to sleep. Sleep is an incredible and powerful tool that can literally dictate your entire next day. And it's crazy to see that you see all these researchers recommending hours of sleep between 7 to 9, and the majority of people aren't getting anywhere close to this. It's probably very common for you to sleep at very late times, and you probably usually get about 4 to 6 hours of sleep, which honestly is one of the dumbest things that you can do for yourself. Without proper sleep, you are literally deciding to throw your health away. Your mental state, your physical health, your general well-being, they are incredibly important, and you just decide to throw that out in the window. Just think about it. Every single night that you spend not getting proper sleep, every single night that you go on ahead, every single night that you skip some good, well-deserved rest, you're ultimately deciding to ruin your upcoming days, ruining your health, ruining your well-being. Sometimes I understand you have deadlines. You have things to finalize, and it needs to be done as soon as possible. But realize that this is a short-term solution that should only be applied in very rare instances. You want to make sure that no matter what, sleep is your number one priority. Now, you probably understand the importance of sleep, and you've been trying to get yourself in a consistent sleeping schedule. And of course, I've been struggling with that myself for years as well. Sleep is not something that you can easily understand. It is not necessarily easy to get yourself a consistent sleeping schedule. So let me give you all the advice that I know about when it comes to getting yourself a high quality sleeping schedule. Speaking of sleep schedule, first step, really make sure to understand that consistency is key. It's important to go to bed and wake up every day at the same time, including weekends. In our system, we have a lot of organisms that are synced up using a biological clock system. This is also known as the circadian rhythm, which is essentially a natural timing system for our body. And all of this is being regulated with timed cycles. Nearly all our tissues and organs have a biological clock. And in the case of sleep, we have something inside of our bodies that tells us when to wake up and when to sleep. You might have realized that sometimes you always tend to wake up at the same time. For example, if you usually sleep at around 10 o'clock in the night and wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, there's a good chance that the next day you will be repeating that same schedule again. And this can be taken advantage of. Now, of course, it's very difficult to shift that cycle. It requires a lot of effort because your body is used to sleeping and waking up at a certain time. So at the very beginning, there's going to be this initial push that you'll require to do in order to wake up and sleep at the time that you want. And eventually, you really stick up to that schedule, and you'll understand that it's actually very difficult for you to break out of that schedule. Without using an alarm or any external devices, you'll usually end up sleeping and waking up at the same time. So use that knowledge to the best of your abilities. The second advice I would say is to try to create a relaxing sleeping routine. And by relaxing, I don't mean scrolling through social media, because that is literally a stimulating activity. You're constantly stimulating your eyes, giving them blue light, and feeding your brain with so much information that it has to process. This will not allow you to go to sleep. And that also includes TV shows, movies, any form of digital entertainment, whether it be video games or TV shows or movies. It should really be out of your system entirely when you are just about to go to bed. The third thing that I recommend you thinking about is your sleeping environment. So earlier I explained that we have a biological clock that determines when we should sleep and when we should wake up. How exactly does our system understand when that occurs? Well, there are external factors that can influence these timings. When you're present in a dark room, your body starts to think that it's time to sleep. When your body is exposed to sunlight or any kind of light, whether it be from a device or whether it be the light of your room, it analyzes, processes this, and understands that, hey, it's time to wake up, it's time to be awake, it's time to get some stuff done. Your environment is incredibly crucial to your sleep quality. To really play around with your bioclock, the very first thing that you should be doing when you get out of bed is you open up the window or get yourself exposed to sunlight as soon as possible. Your body will start to understand when it should be waking up. And same thing for the night. When it's time to go to bed, this is where you dim the lights, remove yourself from technology, and start getting yourself ready for bed. Of course, it's important to have peace and quiet as well when trying to sleep. If you live in a noisy neighborhood, or maybe the people you're living with can be quite loud sometimes, I recommend two things. Either get yourself earplugs, or otherwise cancel out the sound using white noise. I myself use white noise, and it's been incredibly effective. It's been nothing but helpful, and it actually gets me to sleep quite quickly too. Like sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, wherever I'm living, it can get kind of loud sometimes, and it gets kind of difficult to sleep properly. So yeah, white noise, you've been a blessing. Thank you. It's also incredibly important for your room to be cold, actually. For whatever reason, whenever our body gets cold, it feels more drowsy and sleepy. So take that to your advantage. Make sure that the environment is cold. Not too cold, of course. You want to make sure that you're still somewhat comfortable when you're sleeping. Coffee can be helpful to wake you up, but you gotta make sure to drink it at the right time. If you are planning to sleep in 3 hours and you're drinking some coffee, something isn't making any sense. Coffee literally increases your activities in your nervous system. It's going to keep stimulating it. And obviously, when going to bed, you need to calm it down. You need to make sure that there are less things stimulating your brain when you go to bed. And for some reason, some people like to drink alcohol before going to bed. And to begin with, it shouldn't be consumed. I'm gonna have a whole video about that later. But yeah, it can make you feel drowsy and sleepy. But it's also important to have a good quality sleep. Your system is going to actively filter out all of the toxins that you basically fed it. You need to keep your body at peace when it needs to sleep. And the alcohol is doing literally the absolute opposite of that. So please do not drink alcohol before going to bed. It doesn't make any sense to do so. And yeah, of course, the majority of people are going to be drinking this at night. But again, just don't drink alcohol. Like, just please. Just I'll make another video about it. You'll know why, but it's really bad for you. But anyway, next one. Managing your stress and anxiety can be quite a powerful tool in order for you to get to sleep. It's quite common that people think too much about what's coming up next for their day or thinking about finding solutions to some problems that they have in their mind, but this is not the time for that. You have so much time. You most likely have so much time to think about whatever is going on in your mind. Leave that for tomorrow and focus on just getting yourself good sleep. Think about it. Is it better for you to stress about it right now before bed? You get poor quality sleep, which leaves you with less time to deal with the problem tomorrow. And eventually you'll probably need extra time to worry about this problem more because you haven't been productive enough to handle said problem because you lacked sleep. Like, I literally try to keep this in mind myself, but it sometimes helps me understand that I can leave this for another time. I don't need to worry about this now. If there's anything that can encourage stress, maybe that can be scrolling through social media, because maybe as a woman, you hate to be compared to by other people. You see other beautiful women, you're self-conscious about your body. It's not a good idea for you to scroll through these apps just to make yourself feel worse about yourself. Anything that has a risk of giving any sort of anxiety or any problems really late at night, ignore it, put it aside, and deal with it tomorrow. And if you're really worried, you cannot calm down for whatever reason right before bed, you can give yourself breathing exercises, meditation, or even write what's going on in your mind. Try to verbalize it to a friend, perhaps. Talk to your family. Talk to a really close and dear friend of yours. And once you get that mind cleared up, go to bed. It'll help you quite a lot. And now, my final advice. And honestly, this one I'd say is probably the most effective one out of them all. Because when you apply it, not only does it help your sleeping schedule, but also motivates you to keep producing high quality value for yourself and for others. When you have a productive day or you did some really hard work, you have basically mentally exercised your brain on doing so many things. Heck, you probably maybe squeezed some exercises there and there. You went for a run, you worked out. That exhausts your body, and your body needs to recover from all these things that it needs to process. So eventually, reaching at the point of night, your body will want to take that all in, and it wants to sleep. Heck, you would feel proud about your accomplishments as well. When you have an unproductive day, you went throughout the whole day doing absolutely nothing. All these doubts, these anxiety, these issues, those stresses, they come to you. Stress comes from things that you can control. Stress normally comes when you have ultimate control on something that you couldn't achieve. But when you achieve set goals, you will definitely reduce that amount of stress. And so be mindful of that. Whenever you wake up in the morning and you want to start getting your stuff together, you feel like you want to just sit down and rest. Well, don't, because whatever is going to tank your sleeping schedule will create a vicious cycle that'll end up producing a lot of unproductive days. You want to avoid that completely. And so try to get stuff done. Try to get as many things as you can for the day, so that by the time you're ready to go to bed, you will feel amazing. Your dopamine sensors are gonna love you, man, because you're gonna be driving your reward system in the right direction, and you're gonna continue this positive cycle over and over and over again. It'll make you strong. That's probably the lifestyle that you want to have. Keep that in mind whenever you feel like you want to be lazy, you want to stop, you want to quit. Keep that in mind. It's really going to let you drive forward. Let you drive forward to your goals. Now, obviously, anything that's mentally exhaustive or physically exhaustive, like working out, again, you want to make sure that your body is at peace at the last hour of your day. In the last hour of your day, you usually want to do things that are less stimulating, maybe talking to people, venting out about your problems, perhaps going out for a walk, meditating, any activity that really just relaxes your brain. And with all of that, if you apply all of these tips, you should have a beautiful sleeping schedule ahead of you. You will feel refreshed and energized and ready to kick some damn ass. Be incredibly mindful of your sleep and do whatever it takes to invest as much time and effort as possible to get to your sleeping goal. If you want to have an exciting life, then you must have a good sleeping schedule. And yes, having a good sleeping schedule will definitely keep your life exciting. Take care, everybody.